Hello, everyone. I'm Chester44, and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we started a new scenario. Went through the town we happened to arrive in, settled our tab, talked with a few people, and now we're ready to go to where the message we were given told us to go for a quest. The Cathedral of Winds, which is this beautiful little place over here. Let's go investigate. A group of Empire soldiers blocks this path. As you approach, they watch you closely, and you begin to suspect they won't just let you by. They look very unhappy to be here. Their leader, an actual Empire dervish, approaches you. "What is your business here?" "Explain yourselves." You calmly explain to the soldiers that you were summoned here by Father Richardson at the cathedral. A few nod their heads in recognition. The dervish stares thoughtfully at the ground for a while, then he looks you straight in the eye and says, "Right, you may pass. Father Richardson told us to expect you. You ought to report to him in the cathedral's sanctuary immediately. Watch yourselves in there. We're here to guard the building, and we have the authority to deal with you as we please." With that, they march off towards the cathedral. Alright then. Now that you get up close to the Cathedral of Winds, you have to admit that you're a bit disappointed. The stone has been worn smooth by the elements, and the building clearly has not aged well. Far more impressive than the building are the gardens. The walkways are immaculately clean, and the hedges look like they were trimmed recently. And the obelisk you find yourself standing in front of, well, it looks old. Regardless, you'll find out more about your quest inside. South, bringer of warmth and peace. Ah, interesting. This obelisk is simply covered with runes. This guard doesn't seem to want to talk to you. He anxiously shifts from foot to foot, avoiding eye contact with you. East, gatherer of storms and war. I'm guessing these are the four winds. Simply covered in runes. It should be the four winds. It makes sense. North, ruler and guide to all. Oh, hello. This long-haired woman carries a basket of assorted plants in one hand and a trowel in the other. She appears to be surveying the grounds. "Greetings, my name is Paula. How can I help you?" "What is your job here?" "Well, besides being a priestess, I act as the cathedral's groundskeeper. It's one of those jobs that we're all supposed to share, but I am the only one with any patience when it comes to caring for plants. In fact, three of us basically keep the cathedral from falling apart. Felix takes care of the catacombs, which nobody wants to deal with. And then Ethan keeps the rest of the building clean and functional." "What are you working on now?" "Well, I'm trying to figure out if we can start an herb garden somewhere on the grounds. The problem is that not a lot of herbs are really all that pretty, or at least not pretty enough for the main gardens." She gestures to a patch of tilled grounds near the building. "I had to start the herbs back here where nobody can really see them. And because I know you're going to ask, they're not ripe yet, and they won't be ripe for months, so leave them alone." Paul is still here, occasionally bending over to examine a blade of grass. "Can you help us at all?" She shakes her head, probably more out of annoyance than anything else. "I assume that you expect me to teach you spells and heal you. Sadly, I can do neither. Father Richardson is the only one who is allowed to do either. Besides, I am not skilled in the types of healing that would benefit you. I can heal plants and animals, and I can cure some minor illnesses in people, but adventurer caliber healing is outside of my expertise. However, I have a healthy knowledge of alchemy, and I believe I know a few recipes that might benefit you. I could teach them to you for a small fee." Palm of life. Grab that, and that's it. Great. Why not? We'll have it. You know, despite how useful Grey Mold Salve supposedly is, we don't really use that much. West, purveyor of lies and treachery. Really? Lies and treachery. Interesting. Simply covered with runes. Okay, then. Let's see outside. Hello. Most dervishes are rather aloof, particularly with regard to adventures. This one is no exception. Despite your best attempts at starting a conversation, he refuses to speak with you. This fountain looks and feels very similar to the one you saw in Stratton. Perhaps both were built by the same architect. It wouldn't be too surprising. Okay. These must be the herbs that Paula was talking about, and like she said, they don't look ripe yet. I find it interesting that she talks about herbs that look pretty. Even though that's really not the important thing when it comes to herbs. As you approach the entrance to the cathedral, you're struck by how plain the doors look. There's really nothing special about them, which is a little odd. Then you think to look up and remember that this building's power doesn't come from it being opulently designed. It's just huge. A very cold breeze blows out of the building. But then again, it is the Cathedral of Winds, so you brush aside the creepy feeling it gives you. Stepping into the cathedral for the first time, you are awed by the scale of everything. Huge staircases ascend on either side of you, and immense arches rise up to support the ceiling. As with the gardens, the interior of the building is immaculately clean, with surprisingly nice carpets and tiles. Sanctuary. You should probably go speak with Father Richardson before you go and explore the rest of the cathedral. Perhaps you should look for the sanctuary. Meaning this. As you step through this doorway, you're almost floored by the sheer power of the room. The architect clearly knew what he was doing. The smooth stone walls rise up to a gracefully arched ceiling, from which dozens of lanterns hang. There are also balconies built into the east and west walls of the room. From here, you can just see a raised platform at the north end of the room, with a large stained glass window set above it. A robed figure is seated on the platform, and he beckons you forward. This young-looking man looks like most other priests you've seen, just a little more tense. He's staring north with alarming intensity, almost as if he was trying to ignore you. You wait a while, hoping for him to break the uncomfortable silence so that you don't have to. But after a few awkward minutes, you tap him on the shoulder. He yelps. My name is Norbert. What do you want? What are you doing? I'm training to become a full member of the priesthood. How does standing still and doing nothing accomplish that? He slouches a bit. Look, it's all about inner peace. And besides, Brother Silas said that I need to work on it, otherwise I'll be driven insane by the first batch of adventurers to seek my help reviving their stoned friend. But now, Brother Silas is insane, and I can't get another lesson from him until the mages cure him. Which means that our magic isn't enough, which makes me wonder why I'm doing this in the first place. That's enough to make me want to take the easy way out, become a sage and retire early. Can you help us at all? Look, I already told you I'm just an apprentice. I can't do anything until I finish my training. Right. Now for the guy in charge. The first thing you notice about this man is his age. He's clearly very, very old, and he has the sort of washed-out look that you've expected to see, that you're used to seeing among elderly mages. Mages who use magic to extend their lives. Still, when he greets you, you hear enough warmth in his voice to convince you that he's nowhere near death's door. Greetings, friends. I trust that you all want to know exactly why I brought you here. Father Richardson patiently waits for you to speak. What do you need us to do? The elderly priest clears his throat. The Cathedral of Winds has recently developed a pest problem, one that has resisted our best attempts at exterminating it. Specifically, an uncomfortably large group of angry spirits has arisen from the bodies buried in the catacombs, and we need you to send them to their eternal rest. And the sooner, the better. Now I think you should go speak to Felix. He's down in the catacombs, and he'll tell you exactly what you're doing down there. You're a priest. Why can't you handle all this yourself? Father Richardson attempts to stand, but falls back into his chair after a brief struggle. I am old, as you can see. All the holy power, magic in Relinar cannot return the vitality I once had. And yet even if I were younger, I could not defeat these spirits. You see, they are older than anyone in this cathedral. While many spirits fade away over time, it seems that these have only grown stronger, to the point where I can no longer be of much aid in controlling them. But surely there are other younger priests here. Can't they help? We have tried, believe me. Brother Silas has not recovered from our first attempt, and it will likely be some time before we figure out exactly what is wrong with him. The others do not have the experience, and I do not have the strength, so we have turned to you for help. Where is Brother Silas now? The last time I saw him, he was cowering in one of the meditation cells upstairs. He has not spoken to anyone in days, and he has barely eaten anything. He solemnly shakes his head. It is clear that our healing was not enough to save his mind, so he will be sent to the mages in Barton to see if they can devise a cure, or at the very least if they can tell us what happened to him. What makes these spirits so special? Well, first and foremost, they are angry. I'm not exactly sure why they're angry, but they are. It's strange, as the bodies they once inhabited were cared for and given a proper burial in the catacombs. In any event, the spirits themselves are unwilling to disclose their motives to us. Perhaps you will have more success than us. We have yet to get close enough to learn
to learn much else.
Where are the catacombs? Father Richardson laughs, a slightly disconcerting sight. Looks more like uncontrolled wheezing.
Under the cathedral, of course, but I assume you mean the entrance. It's just on the other side of that wall,
He says, pointing to the west wall. Can you give us any help?
Well, I'm afraid you must do the bulk of the work here, but I may be able to aid you with a few spells. I can teach them to you if you wish, but I must charge a nominal fee. Also, should the task be too much for you, you may return to me for healing at any time. For that, I ask a modest price of 200 coins per person, since you are doing us all a favor.
Modest. What spells can you teach? Definitely improve healing. And War Blessing. And Repel Spirit. We're definitely going to need that. Mass Healing. And we have the coin, Curing, and Smite. Perfect. Alright. Tell us about your faith. Father Richardson sighs.
Honestly, hardly any of the adventurers that come through here really care about our faith, and right now I'd rather just tell you to get on with your work. But our church did not last this long by turning away the curious. This is the Cathedral of Winds, and myself and the other priests here in Relinar from the Church of the Four Winds. We worship the supreme power of the winds, north, east, south, and west.
Why do you worship the winds?
Because we believe in the unstoppable power of the winds, of course. Each wind brings us different gifts and challenges, and together they balance out to perfect harmony. The winds are unpredictable just as much as any of the other entities you see worshipped everywhere. They shape our world in ways we cannot even begin to comprehend, and thus we feel they are worthy of our worship.
Are there more cathedrals like this around here?
This is the only cathedral of this size in Relinar. Others exist, though most of the truly impressive ones are in Pralgad. Compared to those mighty spires, this cathedral is quite humble indeed. Most of the other priests who follow the Church of the Winds are scattered about the province, teaching out of smaller shrines and temples. This is our stronghold.
And only now did I just actually look at that stained glass window, and that is actually quite beautiful. I like it. There was a lot of effort put into this. This area seems to be a monument of sorts, with a few expertly carved statues set beside a pool of water. This room contains a small shrine with several offerings set next to it. The heavy smell of incense quickly fills your lungs. Public altar, please keep clean. A priestess is quietly kneeling here, but unlike many of the religious types you've burst in on, she actually notices your presence. She doesn't seem all that friendly, though.
I am Elise, and I am responsible for tending the altars here. Why are you here?
Why are you praying? Elise nods in the general direction of the altar.
I'm praying for this cathedral, praying so that it may be cleansed and made ready for the people of Relinar to come and hear the gospel of the winds. That is the only way they may be saved.
Are you worried about the ghosts?
Not in the least. As the North Wind watches over us, so shall we be spared. Clearly the North Wind has chosen you to act as his guiding hand.
You consider telling her that you were hired for this job and that she should probably be afraid of the ghosts. Thankfully, you have more important work to be doing, so you refrain. Do the people of Relinar really need saving?
Of course they do. They live in sin without even knowing it. By failing to bend for the mighty power of the winds, they can only be blown away when the winds of change choose to reshape life on this earth.
She continues in this vein for quite some time, ranting about salvation and damnation. None of it really registers with you since you've heard this type of garbage many times before. You sincerely hope that not all the cathedral's priests are this reactionary. Elise quietly kneels before the altar, occasionally casting a hard glance at you.
Well, what do you have to say?
Does this altar get a lot of use?
Well, most of the other priests prefer to use the altars in the sanctuary, but I like this one. That and nobody else seems inclined to maintain it, not even Ethan. So I do my duty to the winds and keep it clean. Whenever the common folk use it, they track in dirt. I even heard one swear in here. It's disgraceful.
Wait, isn't this supposed to be a public altar?
Well, if they don't start taking better care of it, then it won't be public for much longer.
Huh. What a terribly unpleasant person. Can you help us at all?
Well, I'm not allowed to teach magic, and I'm too busy seeking inner harmony to heal you, so no, not really.
She resumes praying. What a lovely woman. Now, pardon me, I just want to see because it looks like there may be a hidden path over here. And it appears there's not a hidden room over there. Okay. Wait a minute. Huh. Okay. Cloakroom. This cloakroom probably gets a lot more use when the cathedral is holding services, but for now it's mostly empty. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Don't need anything from there. That's the catacombs. Not going in there yet. Oh, hello. This middle-aged man is busy sweeping the floor. He's dressed like a priest, but his robe has a lot of dust on it, as well as a few unidentifiable stains. He notices your presence, he just doesn't say anything until he finishes getting the pile of dust he's working on into a corner.
Greetings, friends. My name is Ethan.
What's your job here? He gestures to the broom.
I'm one of the few people around here who's willing to help keep this place clean. I scrub the floors, change out the torches, polish the pews, fix the locks, keep the stairs clear, and wash the windows. Heck, just about the only things I don't do are care for the catacombs and gardens. Thankfully, we've got Felix and Paula for that. Catacombs give me the creeps, and I can't stand dirt.
So are you a priest?
Well, yes and no. Not in the sense that I expect you're used to, because I don't do magic. I just try to spread the goodwill of the church and to keep the cathedral clean. A priest without magic, just faith. How often do you see that nowadays?
Well. So you can't teach spells or heal people?
Ethan shrugs. Sorry, but I can't do either of those.
Don't you have other people to clean the cathedral for you? Ethan looks at you in a way that suggests that was a stupid question.
Well, no. It's part of our duty to the winds to keep this cathedral clean, and most of us feel like it's our duty to do it ourselves. Of course, some people skip out on helping because they don't want to dirty themselves with the physical. But if you ask me, I think they're just being lazy. I like it, actually. A little bit of manual labor feels really good every now and then.
I can't argue with that. I spend all my day on the computer, but I like working with my hands at times.
So I have the job I do.
What do you think of the whole ghost problem?
Well, as long as they don't get out of hand, I think I'll ride out the storm here. I mean, with as many magic types as we've got, we should be fine. Of course, if anything attacks me, I'm bolting for the exit. Or the sanctuary, whichever is closer at the time. I trust the winds to protect me, but I don't trust myself to fend off a persistent ghost.
Elise doesn't seem happy with your work. You tell Ethan what Elise said about the condition of the altars. Ethan makes a sound somewhere between a sigh and a grunt.
By the winds, I can't stand her. She's the pickiest priest I've ever had the misfortune to cross paths with. Honestly, if I were you, I'd stay away from her. She's just nasty. But seriously, the reason I don't clean that altar is that I really enjoy annoying Elise. Don't tell her. Not so much because I'm worried about her getting even more unpleasant, but because it'd spoil the fun.
And here's the kitchen. Nothing's cooking in the kitchen right now, which is a bit of a disappointment. Because Night Adventurers like more than a free meal. No arguments. Alright, let's take a look upstairs then. Sure, let's ascend. Balconies and meditation cells. Alright. Balcony seating. Quiet, please. A row of comfortable-looking seats adorn this balcony, as well as a polished rail. From here, you can almost see the entire sanctuary. And balcony seating again. I like that. Meditation cells. Knock before entering. Okay, nothing special there. Meditation cells. Knock before entering. Upon entering this cell, you're more than a little surprised to find an anxious-looking priest crouched in the corner. You're willing to bet that this is the brother Silas that Father Richardson spoke of. Assumedly, this elderly man is the brother Silas that Father Richardson was talking about. He's crouched down in the corner of the meditation cell, occasionally whimpering. He doesn't notice you at first, but he eventually looks up at you.
I am Brother Silas. Who are you? Why are you here?
There's something odd about his voice. It sounds hoarse, but it echoes around in your mind for a while. It's a little unnerving. Who are you? He whimpers again. Oddly enough, that sound doesn't echo at all.
I am Silas, a priest of the church.
He trails off into silence for a while.
There are ghosts. I tried.
Again, his voice falters. The echoes are starting to make you uncomfortable.
I tried to silence them. They broke me. My mind not hiding. I am hiding.
What did the ghosts do?
They broke me. That's all. I don't talk about it.
Brother Silas crouches in the corner, eyes darting wildly about the room.
What's happening? Who are you?
The words echo for a few minutes. Can you help us at all?
Can I help? No. Can't help. Tried to help. No. Want. No. Can't. Need help.
Do you know anything about the ghosts? He shudders and collapses. For a moment you think he's dead. Fortunately, he's still breathing. You leave him to sleep. Pity that happened to him. This guard is blocking the stairway to the next level of the cathedral. He just stares straight forward, not moving a muscle. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. He doesn't say anything to you, he just projects the feeling that you shouldn't be bothering him. Can we get past you? My instructions are to guard this stairwell and prevent anyone from accessing the third floor, so no, you may not pass. He seems disinclined to continue the conversation. Alright, fair enough. Yes, descend. Before we go down, I just want to step outside, just because I want to take a look at this here. The graveyard isn't as poorly maintained as you first thought. Instead, it's just been empty, so it looks more overgrown. Perhaps the cathedral doesn't bury many people out here. I guess. I mean, when you have catacombs, why bury them out there? Oh, my throat. Anyway, it looks like that's about everything there is in the cathedral here, except for the catacombs. Which, you know what, I think we'll go into in the next episode. I mean, we have 5 more minutes, but we're gonna start the catacombs. Why start it now? Next episode, we'll head into the catacombs. Till then, I'm Chester44. That is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been Blades of Avernum. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and there's a spawn on the map that I haven't uncovered. There, now that's better. And I shall see you all next time.